And now, straight out of Boston, Massachusetts, it's time for Entertainment Talk Nation, your number one entertainment talk show, discussing everything from the movies to video games and more. And now, here is your host, Robert Rosado.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the ETN podcast. This is Rob, and we're doing a live podcast right here on stream. We are on Twitch and YouTube, where we are every Friday night at 9 p.m. So chat, hello to you. And don't worry, we'll be getting to you very soon. No worries. Just to give chat a heads up, alerts are off. So keep that in mind as we roll through the week of entertainment. It was a pretty good week. And real quick before we get into it, don't forget to follow the ETN podcast on etn.podbean.com. We are also on iTunes, and we are also on Spotify. And for those of you who have been asked, because there have been some people asking, yes, these podcasts are free. You can subscribe for free on whichever platform you prefer and follow us. Definitely give us a review on iTunes, as it helps the podcast get noticed. And once again, Podbean is where we are mainly hosted, but we are distributed currently to iTunes and Spotify. So pick your platform. And hopefully we will soon also be on iHeartRadio, as I've put in a request there for the podcast to go on iHeartRadio. So we're looking to expand so that the podcast is available for everybody on many different platforms. And we will likely also be on Google soon. So we'll keep you posted on that. Also, don't forget, you can call in to the ETN podcast. Yes, call in. Leave us a message. We actually had a brave soul leave one. So we're going to get into that one, not tonight, but we're going to get into it on the next episode, and we'll cover everything. So this week, pretty good week in entertainment, considering the time of the year. Of course, we know we got some movies coming out in a couple of weeks, the biggest movie being Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. We'll get into that shortly. But we're going to kick it off with the Black Widow trailer, which actually, oddly, it debuted earlier this week, but it was uploaded online at 3 in the morning, my time, Eastern time, which means it was uploaded at midnight on the West Coast. So makes sense. They've done that before with some of the Avenger movies, or showing great, new clips or new mini trailers, whatever the case may be. So I woke up to seeing the trailer. It was quite a surprise. I don't think anyone saw this coming, and I got to say, it was a fantastic trailer. It was a fantastic trailer. I loved every minute of it. I loved the music, and Hollywood, take note. For those out there, and I don't want to politicize anything, but let's be real here. Charlie's Angels was not exactly the kind of movie that was built for all audiences. It was mainly geared towards girls, women power, nothing wrong with that, and it was clearly stated that it wasn't meant for men, but they wanted men to see it. They were very upset men didn't see it. Well, men are going to go see this movie. And I'll tell you why men are going to go see Black Widow. I'll tell you why everyone's going to go see Black Widow. Number one, Scarlett Johansson. She's been playing this role for nearly 10 years. She debuted in the second Iron Man movie, and she has consistently done a good job in this role. And as the character has progressed through the MCU, her role's gotten bigger and bigger, to the point where in Avengers Endgame, she was the reason that the Avengers had a chance to take out Thanos. Without her sacrifice, without her putting herself, or putting her team before herself, I should say, also thinking about her best friend Clint and his family, she made the ultimate sacrifice that led to the victory of the Avengers over Thanos. Take note. This is a character who has earned this. This is a character who has earned everything in the MCU. And I'm so happy. Now, this movie is long overdue as well. Let's be real. Let's be fair. This movie is long overdue. Scarlett Johansson should have had a Black Widow movie well before this. But you know what? Better late than never. And I love the cast surrounding Scarlett Johansson. David Harbour, everybody loves him. He is fantastic in Stranger Things. And he looks like he's going to have a great role playing the Red Guardian, Alexei Shostakov. I hope I said that right. I'm not Russian. I'm Puerto Rican. Florence Pugh, who is somewhat quietly climbing the ranks in Hollywood. I loved her in Fighting With My Family. She was portraying Paige, the former WWE superstar wrestler who had to retire early, had to retire young. She plays a sister figure to Romanoff, named Yelena Belova. And of course, one of the characters that are in this movie, a big crush for me. I've loved this woman since The Mummy. Rachel Weisz, playing Melina. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited for this cast. You know, I still want to see Florence Pugh in Midsommar. Didn't get to see that, but she's starting to display a lot of range. And one thing I mentioned on yesterday's stream, and I'll repeat it here for the podcast listeners, Florence Pugh did comedy. She's done thriller, suspense, horror, if you want to put Midsommar in that category. Now she's doing action. The next step, drama, and then an Oscar. I see that happening. There's also William Hurt and Robert Downey Jr. are returning in this movie. Now, there's a lot of rumors circulating as to the role of these characters. I will say this. What we know so far, or at least what's hasn't been 100% confirmed, but the popular consensus, I always like using that term, you guys know that, is that this movie takes place following the events of Civil War. So we can safely assume, at least this is what I'm assuming, this is not 100%, this is not a spoiler, this is just me guesstimating and predicting, probably wrongfully. But because she is the cause for why the Winter Soldier and Captain America got away towards the end of Civil War, is probably why she's on the run. She has no family to return to. She can't find Cap initially. We do obviously find her later with Cap, but she's on the run just like the rest of the Captain America side of the Avengers from Civil War. And I believe Ross and Iron Man will probably be going after her. And she has no one else to turn to but her former family to help her. Now, where Taskmaster comes into this is unknown. Perhaps he's a hidden secret that Ross has, and he dispatches Taskmaster to go get her. Who knows? Why Iron Man couldn't get the job done? Perhaps he's conflicted in the movie. But also, the other thing is that Iron Man may not directly be in this movie. The other rumor is that Iron Man will be seen in the movie. In other words, not necessarily having a role, but he's going to be in certain scenes. Meaning like either a flashback or stock footage of their fight at the airport, something like that. So still a lot of questions regarding the movie. But I got to say, based on what I saw in the trailer, it looks really good. It looks really good. I'm really excited about it. I love Scarlett Johansson. I think she's been a very good character in the MCU. And, you know, her growth in the MCU has been fantastic because even when we got to Avengers Endgame, when we got, you know, between those last two movies, you know, Infinity War and Endgame, she was the glue that held the scattering Avengers together in Endgame before even the plan came up to go into the past. You know, Steve Rogers is out there holding little seminars and trying to keep people together and keep people right. But here is Black Widow at the Avengers base keeping up with Captain Marvel, keeping up with Rhodey, keeping up with, Rocket Raccoon and the such, staying in contact, looking for Clint, all these things. And, you know, that's a lot of those things. When you take that into account, you take into account her sacrifice and how much she's built up throughout the MCU and how much her character has grown. You kind of take some of these things for granted. You know, now you look back at it. Now that I'm talking about it, you might think to yourself, yeah, that's true. Yeah, she actually did kind of hold them together. She did make the ultimate sacrifice that led to their victory. Just a great character development, but it's easy to forget when you're surrounded by all these crazy superheroes, which is why I think this movie is a little bit late. But again, better late than never. The only thing you could say, and some people consider this a blemish, I don't, because even though it was odd to see this, it made sense for both characters. But a lot of people say during Avengers Age of Ultron, they felt it was out of character for her and the Hulk, or, excuse me, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Bruce, thank you, to kind of have a thing for each other. But when you look at the detail of their characters, it's not completely abnormal. They both have a lot in common. They feel like outsiders. They feel like they've done so many bad things. In Black Widow's case, she has done a lot of bad things in her past. And the Hulk unintentionally has done bad things as the Hulk. For example, what happened earlier in that movie or later on in that movie when the Scarlet Witch got a hold of his brain and he wreaked havoc. So there was a certain connection that they had, a certain element about their characters they could relate to, and that's what brought them together. Even though they're part of the Avengers, even though they're part of that family, it never really would feel like a family to them 100%, because it's not where they started. Bruce was on his own for a long time before he got with the Avengers, and Natasha was part of a faction that did some horrible things, and we'll find out what happened with her and that family when we see this movie. So a little, history lesson there. I'm sure everybody, not really a lesson. Everybody kind of knows about this, but I kind of really wanted to speak into the character and her journey to this point, because I don't think this movie is there just to give her a pat on the back and say, hey, here's your movie. And this is going to probably upset some people, and I kind of get it. I do think there is a chance she's going to be coming back. And I don't mean come back to life, because we all know once you give your life to the Soul Stone, that's it. You're done. You're donezo. But I think something similar is going to happen with Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, that happened to the Guardians of the Galaxy and God, I'm missing my name drops here. This is unbelievable. Gamora. Takes me a few seconds to get it. It's been a long day, people. Bear with me. We had a 2-hour wrestling stream earlier today. But you think about Gamora, the Gamora they're looking for now is not the original Gamora. The original Gamora is dead. Well, we already know time travel is possible. And we already know that there's different timelines. So it wouldn't surprise me if this Natasha Romanoff gets picked up at this timeline during the ending of the events of Civil War, and I have a feeling it's going to be Clint that's going to do it. That's my guess. Will that happen? Probably not, but it wouldn't surprise me is what I'm saying. Now, I know a lot of people will criticize that because it's going to take away the whole meaning of what she did. Rather, you can see it both ways. I see it as she's so important to the team that they can't not have her with them. So we'll see what happens. But I'm very excited for the movie. I think it's a solid cast. The trailer looks fantastic. I can't wait till May. And what else is there to say? All right, we're going to move on to The Mandalorian. We will include this week's review on the overall entertainment-related podcast. This episode, it was okay. Probably my least favorite one up to this point. It was very short. It basically was. I love the way it opened. It's the first time we got to see some action in space, as Mando's being chased down by what is believed to be another bounty hunter, and this ship obviously can outmaneuver his ship, things like that. But he uses his smarts, uses his brains, and he basically hits the brakes on his ship, forces the other ship to fly past him, and then he shoots him down. He gets to Mos Eisley to get repairs, meets another young bounty hunter who is going after a more deadlier bounty hunter played by Ming-Na Wen. Fennec Shand was her name. And I hope I'm saying it right. It could be probably pronounced otherwise. But basically, this new bounty hunter who has to complete this bounty to get into the guild. And he's outmatched. There's no way he can take out Fennec. So he tries to hire the Mandalorian to do the dirty work. Mandalorian figures this out and says, no, sorry, good luck with that. Finally, this young, upcoming bounty hunter kid, whose name escapes me at the moment. I got to be honest with you. I can't remember his name. He said it once in the beginning, and we'll get into why I can't remember it. But because there is a reason for that. Anyway, he agrees to help the kid. He keeps his ship, obviously, for the repairs. The repair lady, who I thought was very charming, finds the little baby Yoda and agrees to herself, not even to the Mandalorian. Hey, I'm going to watch this kid and charge him extra. Fine. Fantastic. Long story short, they head out to find their bounty. Now, Ming-Na Wen's character, Fennec, is a kick-ass sniper. She's just she can basically pick them apart before they have any chance to get near her. So Mando comes up with a plan. Let's head out there at night. They do that. They shoot up some flares as they approach to blind her scope. He takes the brunt of the shot, lucky for the other kid, because he's got the Bexar armor. And finally, they close in on her. The kid gets there first, gets his ass handed to him, because let's face it, this is the cavalry, for those of you who've watched S.H.I.E.L.D. And Mando rolls in, saves the day. Finally, the kid is instructed to watch her while Mando goes out and to retrieve a creature that they can ride. We've all seen this creature before. I again, don't remember all the names of these aliens. They usually mention them once, but be that as it may. During the time Mando's going out to get this creature in the desert, Fennec begins to negotiate with the young bounty hunter. And she tries to tell him, look, everyone's after Mandalorian. He's got a bounty with him that he stole. He betrayed the guild. Basically tells him everything that's gone on. Now this kid starts thinking to himself, wait a minute, that is a pretty big bounty right there. By giving him the information, the offer was to obviously for her to be set free. She would help him capture Mandalorian, and they can split the winnings, whatever he get into the guild. Of course, bounty hunters don't trust each other, so he shoots her. I'm assuming she's dead. I still have a question about that based on the ending, but we'll get to that in a second. And then he uses that information to go back after the Mandalorian. But while the Mandalorian's out getting his creature, the kid bounty hunter decides to go further ahead back into town and meets up, or waits, I should say, for the bounty hunter, Mandalorian, at his ship with Baby Yoda. Mandalorian gets there. My cat says hi for those who could hear it in the background. Mandalorian gets there, and there's the young, aspiring bounty hunter holding Baby Yoda and the pit lady. I call it pit lady because it looks like a pit for ships, but basically the lady running the dock, or the hangar, I should say, that was repairing a ship, holding them hostage. He orders her to go and cuff the Mandalorian. Mandalorian, being the slick bounty hunter he is, has a flashbang, sets it off, blinds the young bounty hunter, flanks him, and shoots him dead. And goodbye, young bounty hunter. Which is why I'm not too concerned why I can remember his name. Because he's dead. So we were never going to see him again anyway. This episode, again, it's I would say it's my least favorite one at this point. I think what disappointed me about this episode was I was hoping, and this is why I'm curious, but I was kind of hoping to see more of Ming-Na Wen. Now, there's a part of me that thinks she may not even be dead. But, we'll have to see. Now, there's somebody who approached her body at the end of the episode. The rumor going around right now, there's a lot of Star Wars fans convinced that it's Boba Fett. I'm not convinced that it's Boba Fett at all. Some of the reason people think it's Boba Fett is because the sound of him walking, and because they're on Tatooine, because this was Mos Eisley, the fact that they were on Tatooine and the sound of his footsteps, I'm not kidding you, this was a reason given by some of these Star Wars fans. The sound of his footsteps is why it was Boba Fett. Now, we gotta keep in mind here, a lot of people, I hope a lot of people know this, because I'm not even a big Star Wars fan, and this I know has been confirmed. But Boba Fett is not a Mandalorian. He's not. Jango Fett obviously is not. They're not Mandalorians. They're not in the guild. You know what I mean? Mandalorians do not do what Jango Fett did in the prequel trilogy. So I don't see why there would be any connection here to this Mandalorian and Jango, or rather Boba Fett. So we'll see. Don't know. But I don't think it's Boba Fett. Now, that's not to say that I don't think they'll take advantage of their story, and at some point maybe Boba Fett shows up. I just don't think this is it. So, we'll see what happens. But overall, I'm still loving the show. I still love Pedro Pascal doing the Mandalorian, playing the Mandalorian. I think I got so invested in some of those story elements that they were telling in the first few episodes, where he shows that and even this episode, you could argue he did show some compassion, because he didn't have to help the kid. He could have told the kid, go screw himself. With that said, let's be clear, he did do it because, well, he needs the money. He had to fix his ship, which he did. After killing the kid, he took his pouch, gave the money to the lady, and went about his business. And, that's that. There'll be another story to tell next week. And he's constantly being chased. I think I'm pretty sure that was probably Carl Weathers' character at the end of the episode, kind of tracking him down. I don't think he's going to be as out there about getting him. I think he's going to be more stealthy about it, really try to catch the Mandalorian when his guard is down. So that's my guess. All right, moving on. Now, yesterday, a lot of you who are here watching the stream right now, you guys know where I'm going with this. We did this yesterday. We spoke about this yesterday. I'm going to briefly touch on this again for the podcast listeners. So there was an article written on a website called Godzilla-movies.com. This is a website that's been around since the 2014 movie, and for the most part, it's been a website that has done an excellent job of growing based on primarily a lot of clickbaiting. Now, the community on the website is great. There are a lot of great people there, and I think for the most part, people kind of know what the site is about. But they did another very, very poor clickbait title the other day, and after seeing all the other ones they've done, because I used to be on this website, I used to be up this website's ass all the time back in 2014, 2015, to the point where the owner of the website, the owner of the network, which is Sci-Fi, reached out to me and threatened to sue me for defamation of character, even though he himself was defamating himself and defecating on his own website. And yes, I meant what I said there, defecating. He was defamating and defecating on himself. He didn't really need my help that much. To give you podcast listeners an example of the kind of things that happened to him back in 2014, there was an incident where he thought he got exclusive footage to the Godzilla 2014 movie. Turned out that he was trolled. It was somebody who used Adobe After Effects to splice together a makeshift scene used from some very, very bad footage from the Godzilla 2014 trailers, and made basically his own shot of Godzilla in the distance and a silhouette, what it looked to be was the silhouette of Godzilla traveling through San Francisco while it's burning on fire. Anyway, so he portrayed this as an exclusive piece that he got, and as soon as he wrote that article, or as soon as the article was put up on the website, the person who made the troll actually uploaded a YouTube video showing himself making the video that he submitted to the site. This is one of many things that happened to this website. So, since I had been away from YouTube for such a long time, it had been a while since I paid a visit to Godzilla-movies.com, and we did so the other day only to find an article that was called King Ghidorah's DNA will be utilized in Godzilla versus Kong. And this is something we spoke about yesterday briefly on our live stream. And I said to myself, a little homework, a little research, and all you have to do to get guaranteed information is listen to the very director himself, Mike Doherty, which is what I did on a video that I posted on the YouTube channel on September 30th, 2019, this year, where I put up a clip of Mike Doherty saying just that the Ghidorah head, that end credit scene, the end credit scene of Godzilla King of the Monsters will be, well, you know what? Let him just say it. I'll let him say it. Here we are.
In what happens in that post-credit scene, is that something we can anticipate to kind of lead directly into next year's movie? Because I know you have a hand in writing that screenplay as well. Is that kind of the primary thrust of what we should expect, or no?
What you see transpire in the post-credit scene definitely pays off in Godzilla versus Kong.
And there you have it. Just a little homework. Just a little time and effort, and you got yourself a guarantee right there. A guaranteed story. So, now with that said, they did say in the article that what they were talking about was a theory. So, but the title of the article is very clickbaity. I wanted to make it known because that's the kind of information that kind of steers people the wrong way. And it's kind of disappointing. And considering I was a big advocate against that for 2014, and now that this movie's been pushed back for another 8 months, and now we have a full year before we get to see it, this is just the beginning. This is going to get worse. So, guys, make sure you read the article in full. Make sure you call things out. The only way to hold any media outlet, not just Godzilla-movies.com, any media outlet on any level of entertainment-related information, be it games or anything, is if you read the clickbait title and you decide to read the article in full and you see that based on the article, the title is full clickbait, call it out. That's the only way these people are going to stop doing this. And they're doing it because obviously when you click on these articles, you go to these websites, got all these ads playing. It's very important for them. And I'm all about monetizing the content you're putting out, but monetize it in good faith and monetize it with good integrity. So I just wanted to touch on that again for the podcast listeners. But like I said, we did speak about this yesterday. So yeah. Now we're going to finish off with Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. This movie's coming out very soon. I will be going to the theater to see it. I will be doing a review on it. Now, I'm not going to get into the leaks. That's been the big talk of discussion for the past couple of weeks are the leaks. I'm not going to get into detail here because there's a lot of evidence leaning that there's an 85% to 90% chance that these leaks are actually true. And I don't want to get into detail. What I will say is this. I don't know. I tend to really wait until I see the movie to be 100% convinced that anything I hear on the internet is true. And to be fair, because I did not like The Last Jedi, I know I sound like a broken record, but I feel like I need to clarify these things because I like to be objective. And I did like The Force Awakens. I did not like The Last Jedi. And I'm going into this movie as fairly and as objectively as I can. With that said, if what I have seen does turn out to be true, I do think there's a lot of Star Wars fans are not going to be happy with this ending. Now, the other rumor is that they have filmed or reshot the ending like 4 or 5 times. They might be waiting for the very last minute as to deciding which ending they want. I don't know. There's so much out there regarding this movie, which is coming out like in another 2 weeks. There's so many leaks, so many takes, so many hot takes, so much probably bull crap, and so much stuff that's probably not bull crap. It could all be bull crap. All I'm going to say is I'm going to go in and I'm going to be fair to the movie. If what I'm reading is true, I'll probably be upset, but I cannot let that deter me from going to see The Rise of Skywalker. But I will admit, what I have read regarding these leaks is not a very fulfilling ending. And again, I have to go in and see if it holds true. I'm not going to let it deter me from seeing the movie. I'm still going to see the movie. But yes, if the movie plays out like these leaks, I can see myself being upset. Now, again, I'm not going to get into details here, but the most recent information, and this is a story element that has been known. I'm not spoiling anything here, but one story element is the Wayfinder. So apparently these leaks, there's a picture of the Wayfinder. And that's kind of, this picture basically is the confirmation of all the leaks, is the Wayfinder and this stuff like that. I'm not going to tell you what it looked like. The picture is out there. There's a lot of people criticizing it. There's a lot of people criticizing how it looks. Star Wars has been a mess on both ends since it's gotten into Disney hands. The fans are not happy with the Star Wars franchise, and Lucasfilm, which is now controlled by Disney, have not been they've been off-putting and dismissive of the fans. I blame both sides. However, I tend to lean and yield in favor of the fans because the fans are the ones who put money in your pocket. The fans are the ones who go out to see your movie, even when they may know they're not going to like it, because they feel like they owe it to themselves to find out. It's like hope against hope. They may be convinced, or they may have some inside knowledge that it's not going to be something they want to see, but they go anyway, hoping against hope. I don't think anyone had any clue they were going to get what they got in The Last Jedi. That's pretty much what started all this, although this has been pretty ugly before. As I'm telling you, Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie of these modern Star Wars movies, hands down. I'm still convinced of that. And The Mandalorian is probably some of the best Star Wars that we're going to get from Disney if it keeps out the way it's going. Because even though this episode, in my opinion, was a little bit weak or weaker compared to the other ones, I still found enjoyment in watching it. I'm gonna say I am hoping going into Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker that I come out satisfied. I'm hoping that it is a good movie. And while I'm not happy with what I've read in the leaks, I have to assume that every leak is a lie until I see the movie and confirm that it's true. I do feel a lot of people put their faith in leaks too much. And even when a leak does come true, people jump at the gate and rah, you see, it's true, forgetting that 98% of the time leaks are not true. So I don't put my faith in leaks. I'm going to be walking into this theater hoping for the best Star Wars movies that we can get. And if we don't get it, I'm going to be right back here calling it out like I did with The Last Jedi. I'm not going to let my disappointment with The Last Jedi ruin or predetermine how I'm going to feel about Rise of Skywalker. I'm going to go in and I'm going to be fair about it. So finally, we're going to end the stream with now look, I love entertainment. And sometimes you can find entertainment in some funny things that are not necessarily movies or anything else. And there's quite a bit of a story here that many of you probably heard about, but you got to admit it's pretty funny. So this is what I like to call the bullshit segment.
Attention, this is not a test. Do not adjust your computer. This is an ETN bullshit alert.
All right, so many of you have probably heard about the Peloton bike. All right, I'm going to play the ad. It's about 30 seconds. And then we're going to talk about why everybody, mainly feminists, went apeshit about this ad. So let's hear the ad and we'll go from there.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Now.
A Peloton? Give it up for our first time ride.
All right, first ride. I'm a little nervous, but excited. Let's do this. 5 days in a row. You surprised? I am.
6 a.m. Yay.
Rising with the sun.
That was totally worth it.
Let's go, Grace in Boston. 50 rides.
She just said my name. A year ago, I didn't realize how much this would change me. Thank you.
This holiday, give the gift of Peloton.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Peloton. Now, if you haven't seen this commercial, go check it out. It's a charming little commercial about a stationary bike, a very expensive stationary bike that can do a lot of things. And the ad begins with the husband giving his wife the gift of the Peloton bike. And she's happy. She's ecstatic. Now, she's a fit woman already. But this is to encourage her to continue to stay fit, he's looking out for her best interests. And the commercial essentially goes through real quickly, because it's only 30 seconds, her keeping up and recording her progress on the bike. And then at the end, showing all her progress to its culmination to her husband, and then thanking him at the end for the bike. Feminists on Twitter and on the Mary Sue went, excuse my French, I do try to keep this PG friendly, but I got to be honest here, went apeshit. And if you want to be entertained, you have to read some of the stuff they were saying. They were accusing or saying that this commercial is fat shaming the lady in it. Meanwhile, she looks like she's about 105 pounds soaking wet. They were saying, well, why does she need the bike? She's already thin. Because, once you're thin, that's it. You don't got to work out anymore. That's it. You're done. Throw the bike away. Because people don't work out on a daily basis to stay fit. They were saying that the husband in the commercial was being abusive because he was forcing the bike on his wife. Because if you heard the commercial, like I just did, you could hear him telling her, hey, you need this bike. You better use it on a daily basis and lose those, 2.5 ounces you got going on. Otherwise, we're divorcing. Because he said that. God forbid you look out. You have a nice couple looking out for each other. I mean, really? Really, people? Are we really going to, you want to talk about drawing straws. This is not just drawing straws. This is like trying to draw the winning lottery ticket in one commercial. Like, this is drawing straws that are in a plane and you're on foot. That's how hard you're going to draw the straw. The gift that gives back, the Peloton bike commercial, check it out. It's actually a charming commercial, and it's really well done. The woman in the commercial is she's gorgeous. She's about maybe 105, 110 pounds, but feminists think that she's trying to be portrayed as fat with an abusive husband that is forcing this bike on her so she can lose weight. Yep, got to cut those 6 ounces. Anyway, guys, that is it for this episode of the ETN podcast. Wanted to run through all the happenings of the week and leave you off with a nice little funny story regarding the Peloton bike. You get a chance, go check out the ad and then go to Twitter, go to the Mary Sue and find out what they have to say about it. It's really, really quite comical and makes for excellent entertainment. So, and we'll be back on probably Saturday with the SmackDown review. And I want to thank you all for being here. Don't forget to follow the podcast at etn.podbean.com. Once again, we are on iTunes. We are on Spotify. Hopefully soon to be iHeartRadio. And of course, you can come and subscribe to us on ETN, Entertainment Talk Nation, YouTube channel. Until the next podcast, you all stay safe. Have a good one, and talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to Entertainment Talk Nation. Don't forget to rate and follow and visit us on YouTube at ETN, where you can subscribe to the channel for daily content.